Well, it's Tuesday, a special Tuesday. After a couple of false starts where I said I thought this was going to be on the 4th, and then I said, I think it's the 10th. Well, it's the 9th, and it's Carole King's birthday. So I want to wish her a happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Carole. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Carole. I absolutely adore Carole. It's so funny that back in the late 60s when I was in local bands and stuff, when we were playing all these great songs like The Locomotion and all these great tunes, little did I know that Carole and Jerry Goffin were writing all these songs. She was a teenager. She was a kid, a little nymphette. And then when we started with James Taylor in 1970, the band was Danny Korchmar, myself, Russ Kunkel, and Carole King. And through a bunch of goading and pushing and conniving, we got Carole to do some songs in the show. And the next thing you know, she has a record deal and goes in and cuts Tapestry, which is one of the biggest records ever. And it is celebrating its 50th anniversary. I mean, it's hard to believe. It's been 50 years since she recorded Tapestry. It's unbelievable how time has just, I usually say, where the hell did the time go? But I'm usually talking to a drummer and not the calendar. So it's crazy. But I thought, so I would just do a couple of Carole tunes and just indulge in a couple of iconic songs that Carole wrote. The first one is, this was interesting. There's a couple of funny stories that go with this. The first was in the early days of Saturday Night Live. We did that show a number of times back in the days of Aykroyd and Belushi and Gilda and all. I mean, the amazing cast and the amazing energy that show had in the beginning, because it was so really kind of cutting edge and nobody really knew what this was all about. And one of the routines I remembered distinctly from the show was Lorraine Newman playing Carole King, sitting in her brownstone writing "You've Got a Friend." And as she's sitting there writing, and the window's open and you can hear her out through the window, Garrett Morris is walking down the street and gets mugged out front. And he starts yelling, "Carole, Carole, help me, I'm being, help." And Carol's yelling, "Shut up, I'm working on a song. You just call out my name." It was one of the dumbest, ridiculous routines. As he's being mugged out there, she's writing "You've Got a Friend" and just telling him, "Leave me alone, I'm working." It was great. But the other one was when we ended up recording it with James and releasing it before Carole released it herself, which was a real unbelievable act of kindness and unselfishness on her part to relinquish a song that was so amazing to another artist, even though they were working together and they were friends and all that, massive respect for each other. It was a remarkable thing. So we recorded "You've Got a Friend." But the first time we ever played "You've Got a Friend," before we recorded it, I believe we were back in Boston playing a gig, and it was Russ and James and myself. I think we were out as a trio. And we learned the song just before the show backstage. And so we went out there and James said, "I'd like to play a new song Carole King wrote. And this will be the first time we've ever played for anybody. And if you hear any wrong notes, it's going to be Lee." And that was a giant lightning bolt of confidence, went right up my rear end on that one. But we played the song, and needless to say, every bass note I played was wrong. And when it was all over, we kind of looked at each other, and I was not going to go down without a discussion. And the crowd sitting there, and I said, "Hey, James, what song did we play before this? Country Road? Drop D tuning? Did you remember to tune your E string back up to a E from a D?" And it didn't. So he's got that walking thumb that just defines the bass parts on so many of the songs. And it was a whole step off for the whole song, which basically made everybody stare at me. And I remember James saying, "There isn't a spatula big enough to wipe the egg from my face." That was my first experience with You've Got a Friend. It was ridiculous, but so I want to do You've Got a Friend, but what I decided, I was looking at a bunch of YouTube videos and stuff from like our Troubadour reunion tour and all kinds of other concerts that we've done it on. Then I forgot about this, and I went back into my iTunes folder, and I have a folder with our rehearsal for the James Taylor Carole King reunion tour. So I'm going to do 2 songs, and these are both rehearsals. It was myself and Russ Kunkel and Danny Korchmar, Carole, James, Robbie Condor on second keyboard on it, and Andrea Zahn, Kate Markowitz, and Arnold McCullough on background vocals. And we had a small audience of friends that came down to watch the rehearsals just to talk and get kind of a vibe going in the crew. So there's a little bit of patter goes on here. And this is loose. This is not stage performance here. This is a rehearsal performance. But I kind of like every once in a while going into the more raw and personal things where the shows actually got assembled and put together. When we would put shows together with James over the years, we would write song titles on 3x5 cards, and then we'd lay them all on the floor and then just keep moving them around until eliminations and stuff, until we would end up with the, say, 25, 28 songs that we would probably do in a show and do that. And we did the same thing with James and Carole, and you start putting down Carole King songs and James Taylor songs. The place was covered in 3x5 cards. The hardest thing was eliminating songs and putting together a set, because we could have done a 10-hour set and still not touched half the songs that we wanted to do. But these 2 are iconic Carole. Second song is Carole King and Jerry Goffin composed. This is Carole. So here, let's go play You've Got a Friend. Let me get it back to the beginning.
Go.
Ooh. James starts and then Carole comes in.
Feels good. You must need a drink. That was rough.
We did Earth Move just before this, and he was pretty tapped.
Imagine how it was for me.
Yeah, and then it just went on. I've just got all these things together on here. But grab this one up here. Where is this? There we are. This has been covered by so many people. One of the most beautiful ones was Aretha doing it. But it's always fun to do it with the person who wrote the song. We've done it together so many times. Certainly, Fire. You've Got a Friend. I played that so many times with James over the years. But this was really just a treat to be on stage with Carole and watch the response of the crowd when she started this song. So let's just get right into this Carole King, Jerry Goffin song. You'll recognize it.
However you got it, but just start while I'm up here, and they'll catch me.
I love rehearsals.
Looking out on the morning rain, I used to feel uninspired, and when I knew I'd have to face another day, Lord, it made me feel so tired. Before
Yeah, babe.
Now I'm no longer doubtful of what I'm living for. 'Cause if I make you happy, I don't need to do more. You make me feel. You make me feel. You make me feel like unnatural woman. Oh, baby, what you done to me, what you done to me. You make me feel so good inside, And I just wanna be close to you. You make me feel so alive, and you make me feel. You make me feel. You make me feel like unnatural, natural. You make me feel. You do. You make me feel. You make me feel. Make me feel. It's you who make me feel. You make me wanna say, oh, you make me wanna say, yeah, yeah. You make me wanna say, oh, yeah, 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 yeah. No, you make me feel like unnatural.
Take it, girl. All the people, we're having a great time in there.
And thank you, aren't you wonderful?
Carol's the best.
So we're gonna take our intermission here.
Okay. Intermission time. So, happy birthday, Carole. I hope you have a great one. I'm sure she's up at her home, you know, talking to her fabulous kids, grandkids, everybody. I used to love going visiting, hanging out with her when she was in town here and seeing her mom. Her mom was a trip, man. I loved hanging with her mom. She was like just the best. And Carole had her friend Alyssa Klein out there on the road with us on the TRT tour, who's a fantastic photographer and basically takes care of all of Carole's property and everything. She's like a super uber life caretaker, and I miss her too. Well, she's a great gal. It was a great community on that tour, on the TRT tour, and I miss everybody. I wish that could have gone on forever. The songs, the musicianship, the camaraderie, the crew, everybody. It was really one of those things that go down in your memory books as like one of the best things you ever got to do. And so I'm forever grateful for that and the fact that it was all documented and stuff. But I do love going back to these rehearsal tapes and just getting it when it was real fresh and raw and just working on things, getting them together. So I'm going to get jamming here. Got stuff to do today, and I'm going to wish everybody a great day. I'm giving an extra shout out today to all of the healthcare workers and stuff that are soon to be having to deal with Super Bowl rave parties that they showed on the news, like from Florida, with tons and tons and tons of people no masks, screaming shoulder to shoulder in each other's faces. So, whatever progress has been made in getting the numbers down is all over again, because this is just going to be another giant spike, I'm sure. I mean, it's impossible for it not to be, especially with the new strains coming into the country and stuff. So thank you to all you healthcare workers that want to see an end to this and get your lives back. And it's just kind of an endless cycle here until people, as frustrated as everybody is, wraps their head around what they really should be doing to make this safer for us. So, okay. All I'm going to say is just I've already said it, but I'm going to say have a great day, and I look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow. And I'm going to go out, chilled off a bit, and I was out really early this morning, so I put a sweatshirt on. I mean, it's more t-shirt time for me, but I'll swap out now probably. So take good care, and I will see everybody tomorrow, okay? Bye-bye.